Hey there guys, welcome to the next tutorial here on the channel. Last Friday I filmed a time-lapse on how to make what I call firework loops. They're these really cool hair clips that you can make out of different colors of duct tape, and they're pretty much made with a whole bunch of loops of tape here, and they're really cool to make. So what I'm going to be doing in this video is showing you how to make them, and I call them firework loops because they look a lot like fireworks and they use a whole bunch of those different loops, and of course tomorrow being 4th of July, I think they'll fit in pretty well with the theme here. You're going to need just a simple hair clip for this tutorial. I'm going to be using a barrette clip. You can also get away with using a bobby pin or an alligator clip as well. So let's get started here. Now you do have kind of a choice when you're making these firework loops. I actually have two different kinds here. This one actually uses just a few loops here. There's 8 around the top, and then there's another 8, and then there's 3. It doesn't look quite as busy as this one down here. This is what I'm going to be showing you and making for you in this tutorial. So you can obviously go this route. It's going to be a little bit easier to make, and you won't spend as much time with it, but I'm going to show you how to make the really complex one here and really incorporate as many loops as we can into the hair clip. So the first thing I'm going to do is cut out a strip of tape that's 3/4 inches long. I'm going to take this piece and I'm going to fold it in half just like this and stick that down. That's going to be the base for everything, all the different loops that we stick onto this piece here. So I got that aside. Now what I'm going to do is cut out 2 strips of tape that are 3 inches long, and that's the length of these around the outer edge here as well as on both of these here. Then what I'm going to do is take my ruler and my hobby knife, and I'm going to cut them into 4 identical height strips here. So every 1/4 inch of the strip, or every 1/4 of the piece down the strip, I'm going to be cutting it into these pieces here. So I have 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm going to be doing that for this one as well. So the next thing we're going to do is take all of our strips here, and then we're going to peel them up, and we're going to stick them together just like this, back over top of each other, and then stick them all the way down. So there's our first one. Then we're going to take our next piece and do the exact same thing. You're going to be doing this with all these other pieces here, and you should end up with 8 of them total. And then once we get to that point, we'll start connecting them together. So do that step now. So once you have all your pieces folded together, we'll cut out a 1/2 inch strip, and then we're going to cut that directly in half like this, and then cut it in half so that you have 8 pieces total on each one. So we've got, one there, there's 4, and then there's another 4 up here. And now we're going to be using these as our connectors. So to connect them together, we're going to take our first piece, or first loop, and we're going to fold it together like this, and make the back one just a little bit higher than the front one here. Take your piece and simply connect those 2 pieces together like this. You want to make sure that they're securely attached, but you also want a little bit of a sticky part showing on the top, and that'll be using as our connecting piece to connect to this piece here. So you want to do that with all of these pieces. So once we have all those strips connected together, we're going to start applying them to our piece here. So I actually have 3 of them already stuck on, so I'm going to take the rest of these, and you want to try to apply them in kind of like a straight across pattern to start off, and then from there we're actually going to fill in all the gaps that we make when we're sticking all these on here. So we've got some of them there. This will be our first 8, and then since we're making the one where there's a whole bunch of different loops on there rather than the one that's a little bit smaller, we're actually going to be making another 8 that are exactly the same size and filling in all those individual pieces on the inside. So cut out 2 more strips that are 3 inches long. Repeat all the steps I just showed you to connect another 8 of these to this hair loop here. So this is what it's going to look like after you've taken all your strips and kind of stuck them down. There should be 16 total loops on here, and then what you want to do is take your finger and kind of mash them down in the center because that's where they're all connected. Now what we're going to do is cut out 8 strips, and that'll be our second tier or our second layer on the hair bow. So let's work on that next, and we'll be using the color red. So for our second layer, we're going to cut out 2 strips of tape that are 2 inches long each. We're going to cut those into 1/4 segments, so you have 4 on this side and 4 on this one here, and you can separate those a little bit to see what you've got. Then we're going to take a small, probably a 1/2 inch strip. We're going to cut that right down the center just like we did before, and then 3 cuts, and that will give you the 8 connecting pieces. So now what we're going to do is just like we did before, we're going to peel all these over and stick them down on top of themselves for each piece. Then we're going to take each individual one and stick them together just like this, with a little bit of connecting sticky on the other side. So do that step now. So once we have all our strips made, we're going to take our piece here, and I generally apply these in between the loops that are already there, if that makes sense, kind of like right there to start off. You want to stick them directly in the center once again. Naturally they'll be smaller than the ones we made before. So you want to just once again line them directly across from each other. So just like this. And as long as you get a good crossing pattern, it really shouldn't make too much of a difference. So you're just kind of applying these 8 directly across from each other. So we got that one and then one more. Once you've got them all stuck down, you want to flatten them once again, and that'll make room for our third and final layer on there. So to make our third layer, it's actually going to be a repeat process of exactly what we've done before, except the strips are going to be 1 inch long. So we're going to cut out 1 inch strip, then we're going to cut out another 1 inch strip. We're going to cut it in half, 3 times to make 4 pieces on each one. We're simply going to fold them on top of each other, just like this, and then use the connecting strips over here to connect these two together. And then we're going to be applying those directly into the center of the bow. So do that step now. So once again, once we have all our pieces made, I'm going to be applying these in between the red loops here. So it should be one there. Flip the whole thing over, and you can go directly across from each other doing these as well. Or you can just kind of go in a starburst pattern. It really doesn't make too much of a difference. So applying all these to the center, and then we'll actually have one more piece after this to wrap it up, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So once you get all these stuck down, give it a good press right in the center. So to wrap up the firework loops, I just usually cut out a small 1/4 inch by 1/4 inch square, and that goes directly in the center here, and I usually stick that down just like that. Now the only thing we have to do is stick the barrette clip on top of on the back of the hair clip here. This part should be fairly simple. We're going to take a small strip of tape, we're going to pop it out so we know to go underneath this piece here. Stick that to the inside of the clip, and you'll know if you did it right if it can open and close without any trouble. Then we're going to attach it to the back of this piece here and give that a good stick down in the middle there. And there we have our firework loop hair clip. So that's how to make the firework loop hair clips. They're actually pretty simple to make. They just take a little bit of while because you're just taking all the strips and cutting them out and then repeating that process a lot of different times. So hopefully it wasn't too boring for you guys. They're actually pretty simple to make though, and of course you can make them in pretty much any colors you want to and kind of mix and match however you want to as well. So hope you guys liked the video. I'll catch you soon on the channel, and have a happy 4th of July.